Fantastic. Let's go.
Perfect. All right. Hello and welcome everyone to our webinar. I hope you're all doing well and having a great week so far. I know it's Thursday already, so hang in there. I'm Kalyan, co-founder and CEO of Almabase. I'm thrilled to be joined by Don Philabaum, president and CEO at Talent Marks. Before we dive in, let me quickly run through the logistics of how this will work, while more people are trickling in. As attendees, all of you are muted by default. Only panelists will be unmuted. That's myself and Shravan from my team and Don, of course. Feel free to ask questions anytime during the webinar. You don't have to hold your questions till the end. And to ask a question, just type it in on the chat below. We'll be monitoring the chat and we'll respond to questions as soon as we're able to during the webinar. The slide deck that we'll use here and the recording of this entire session will be sent to each of you over email. So you can just sit back and listen in. You'll have all of this material at the end of the webinar. We're also going to have a couple of live polls to help us all learn from the collective wisdom of the crowd today. So I request you all to please participate and share your thoughts there as well as on the chat. So those are some of the logistics. With that out of the way, I mean, it's good to see so many of you joining us today. Welcome again. I want to share a little bit of a backstory on how this came about. Don authored this book called Alumni Online Engagement, 101 Strategies to Manage Alumni Engagement from Cradle to Grave. And that was in 2008, believe it or not. Right, like 13 years ago. And honestly, I read that book a few years ago after starting Almabase, and I was so inspired by his ideas. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be joined by him on this webinar. If you haven't talked to Don before, I'm sure you will see today how insightful his ideas are. Don's actually a veteran in the alumni relations and advancement industry with over 26 years of experience. He was one of the early pioneers, like I said, in the alumni online community and directory business. He founded a company called IAAC in 1996 and later sold it to iModules, which is now Anthology, but this was back in 2007. After developing over 200 alumni online communities for alumni associations from the London School of Economics, HEC School of Business, the FBI Alumni Association, and many more across North America. Thanks again, Don, for taking the time to share your ideas with us here today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to be here with your group of folks that are all over the globe. I'm coming from the western slope of Colorado near a little town called Telluride, and we're excited to be able to share some interesting tools and ideas and strategies that you'll be able to generate revenue, affinity revenue, actually from providing career and professional development to your alumni.
Thanks, Don. At Almabase, we're always looking for ways to support and grow the alumni relations and advancement profession. I'm very passionate about this space because, it all started with my own personal experience several years ago. My co-founder Sri and I met in college in India, which is where we're originally from. And while we were still in college, there was a particular situation where a lack of scholarships led to a personal struggle for both of us. And at that point, we ended up just contacting alumni, raising funds and preventing several students from being forced to drop out. And then we established a nonprofit foundation to continue that effort, right? But through that entire experience, what we realized is that the relationship between alumni and their alma maters was broken, not just at our institution, but at most institutions globally, right? And that's the insight that led to the creation of Almabase several years ago. Our mission is and has always been to help institutions make their education more accessible and more affordable to everyone by driving more participation from alumni in terms of their time, talent, and treasure, right? We're fortunate to be serving hundreds of universities and schools, helping them cultivate meaningful lifelong relationships with their alumni by becoming more alumni-centric. In today's webinar, we want to talk we want to take a look at traditionally how alumni associations have generated revenue and how that landscape is changing. And we want to leave you with actionable ideas to generate more revenue for your alumni association or alumni relations office. So buckle up. Let's actually start with a poll, a live poll, so that we can learn from you all here today. Let me just, so this is a live poll that we would like you all to participate in. On your phone or on your computer, go to your browser and type in slido.com and enter the code 55444. And you'll see this question on your screen. The question we're asking is, how do you generate revenue for your alumni association or alumni relations office currently, right? You can also just pull up the camera on your phone and scan this code. It'll directly take you to the question. So that makes it really easy as well. There's a list of options here. You don't have to choose one. We're looking for all of the different ways in which your alumni association generates revenue currently. I'd love to see some responses here. So we're seeing some flowing in now. Let's give it a couple of minutes, Don, if you will, for some of these responses to come in. The usual suspects, fundraising. Don, we can't hear you.
It won't be surprising to see membership being, of course, one of the areas in which everyone is generating revenue, and there's different ways that people are utilizing membership. Some have membership programs that start the minute students enroll in college. Others have the graduation membership package for students, and then of course lifelong. I made the wise decision as a graduate of Kent State University to buy a lifelong membership for $400 many decades ago, which is probably $1,500 now.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting to see the overall decline in dues-paying membership organizations over the years. I don't know if that's still a declining trend right now in the last couple of years, but at least over the years before that, there's clearly a declining trend.
Yeah, and I think it could change as we begin to provide more valuable services for that membership, right? Most alumni who pay a membership fee, assuming they're just not getting anything of real value. And some of the things we'll talk about today in terms of providing career support are right in that wheelhouse.
Yeah. I see that some of you have submitted your responses. There's still a few more. Let's see if we can give it a few more seconds to see if more people are responding. But what we are seeing so far is about 4 in 5 of your organizations doing fundraising, a lot of revenue from events, homecoming reunion events, 35%, so roughly 1 in 3 organizations being membership dues based. And then we've got merchandise sale. I didn't expect that to be high on the list. That's nice. Award nights, travel program, Amazon Smile, renting space. This is obviously a big deal. You would have seen a much bigger number with respect to renting space if we had asked this question a couple of years ago. But obviously the pandemic has disrupted this. All right, let's move on. So traditionally, I mean, as you saw on the poll, traditionally, these are the ways most alumni associations or alumni organizations have generated revenue. Fundraising, obviously, like you saw, 4 in 5 organizations here on this webinar are doing fundraising. Membership dues, like we said, there's been a clear decline in dues paying membership organizations over the years, but it could be a trend that could reverse. So we'll wait and see on that. Renting space, like I said, I'm sure it hasn't generated much revenue through the pandemic. Are we likely to recoup that? Possibly going to take a while for that to happen, right? I think golf tournaments, homecoming reunions, other events on campus, they're definitely coming back. A lot of organizations that we are working with have already started doing some shape of in-person events. Are they seeing as much participation as before? Probably not as much yet, but I think come fall, it's quite likely that maybe they'll actually see higher participation because everyone's eager to come back and meet and shake hands and hug it out, right? So that'll be interesting to see. Travel programs, especially international, are much harder to do right now, obviously, and, unlikely to see as much participation yet because, with all sorts of varying restrictions in place due to the pandemic in different countries, travel programs are likely to take a hit for the moment. I mean, obviously, these are all great ways to generate revenue, but some of these channels won't recoup quickly. And that's why it's important to go back to the basics and think about how to stay relevant in today's world, right? Traditionally, as institutions, we usually think about what we as the institution want to gain from these relationships. And, our staff, create programs and then market it to our alumni, hoping some of them will participate. But that leads to thousands of disenchanted alumni because this is about us and what we want, not about them and what they want, right? Instead, if we actually rethink our programming approach with our alumni at the center and say, what do they want? What do they care about? How do they want to participate? Where do they want to participate? And then think about creating experience and providing services that your alumni care about and make them easily accessible, you will definitely see a lot more engaged alumni. And that approach is what we call being alumni centric, right? A simple example here. I mean, every single institution that I've spoken to over the last 12 months has said they've seen new alumni engage with their institutions since going virtual last year, alumni that haven't ever engaged in the past. And why is that? Because it's just so much more convenient for your alumni, especially those that are, geographically far, to access and be engaged with the institution, right? So, as an organization now, if you're saying, okay, we can do in-person events now, with all of the vaccination. So let's go back to doing just what we did before the pandemic. If you're just doing that, you're losing the plot because you have to think of what's the best hybrid approach, given what our alumni care about and how they want to participate, right? And obviously, in terms of this webinar, all of you have come here to look at ideas to generate revenue, but I thought it's important to take a step back and acknowledge that as an institution, you have to think about how you provide value to your alumni before seeking value in return. And that's obviously revenue as well, right? Don has obviously spent a lot of time thinking about how to provide value to our alumni. Don, I'll hand this over to you now. Can you walk us through some good revenue generating ideas for alumni associations that are relevant right now?
Sure. Pass the controls over to me and I will share that with you. And you do bring up a really good point too about being alumni centric. I love that approach. And Andy Shainlin from Alumni Futures blog a number of years ago did a bit of research to find out what are the mission, vision, and goal statements of alumni associations. And what was really exciting about that is the fact that very few alumni associations were focused on what's in it for the alum, to your point. It was what's in it for us, right? What is the mission, vision, and goal statements were all about what the alum could do for the organization, of the alumni giving of their time, treasure, and the talent. So I do love your approach to remind us that if we're going to have membership-oriented kind of value-added services, it has to be built around what's in it for that alum. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit then about focusing on providing career and professional development programming. And let's first talk about why we should do that. I'm going to go off video for a minute so you can focus just on my slide. So one of the ideas that I learned about probably a decade ago was the fact that the alumni attitude study had been conducted with over 300 different alumni associations with a focus on learning what alumni want from their alumni association. And what every single survey showed, whether it was a California college, a Colorado college, or Massachusetts college, every alumni association was failing at providing alumni level of career and professional development they expected their alma mater to provide. So it's opened up, if any of you have not surveyed your alumni, you can simply do a Google search of alumni attitude study. You'll probably find a number of different colleges who have posted their study. And if you go and look at what alumni gave as feedback related to career support, you again will find that the alumni are disappointed. They're expecting more. Another research report by an organization called the Olson-Zoltman Associates did a survey, and they looked at alumni from a perspective of what is it that you expect from your undergraduate alma mater. This is the Olson-Zoltman Associates. And what they found is that alumni expected the relationship with their alumni association to be a continuation of what they experienced as students. In other words, they expected the college to fulfill their sense of curiosity, to provide them intellectual, stimulating kind of career lifelong support, not focus on fundraising, building up memories of events and activities when they were students. And so there was this transition when all of a sudden one graduates and they see that the alumni relations office is really only there to kind of help the development office. So as you're thinking about becoming alumni centric, as we're discussing today, think in terms of what is it that we're going to do that will essentially put more deposits in the bank of your alumni rather than taking deposits from them, right? You're always asking of their time, treasure, and their talent. Other reasons you should provide career support. There's research by the organization called After College that 83% of grads leave campus without a job. NACE, National Association of College and Employers, have found that it takes the average grad nearly 8 months to land a job. A number of different organizations show that 40% of grads end up in jobs that don't require a college degree. Now, your college may say, hey, we help students find jobs within 3 months, and 80% of our students find jobs. Well, if you're doing that well, great, but what are you doing for the 20%? And those are the kinds of things I want you to be thinking about. There's still more we could do for your students and your alumni than what we're doing right now. The next bullet point that talks about 3.1 gift solicitations just floored me. When students they're just starting their career, they may not even have a job, but their first year out of college, they're getting requests for gifts. Maybe we're sending the wrong message there. What if we're sending a message that, hey, we're here to help support your career, and here are career and professional development events and activities we have lined up for you. The last bullet point is just something that also surprised me, and I think it may surprise you. Over 70% of students graduate with student loan debt, right? And I didn't realize that the average person will actually take 21 years to pay back their student loan. Theoretically, it should be 10 years, but one may delay payments. Currently, we've had a full year. We haven't had to make payments. So, this is affecting individuals' abilities to buy houses and launch their careers. So we need to be thinking again and put ourselves in the shoes of graduates. And I like the way that the University of Phoenix is addressing this, and it is certainly something you can copy, like the case's moniker is copy and steal everything, right? So we all are in a position today where we can steal information from each other, but they actually trademarked the idea of career services for life. This gets back to the kind of core foundation. That's what they know their customers expect of them. They're marketing to that. It's driving enrollment, it's driving admissions, it's driving revenue, and it's driving satisfaction, right? You can say something long enough that someone's going to believe it. So you could begin immediately starting to talk the talk. Maybe you're not walking it yet, but again, if you go back to what we were talking about earlier, where you are changing your mission statement, changing your vision, goals, statements, and actually putting in there that you're going to provide career and professional development support, when you do that, then funding and staffing will follow that vision and mission. You'll get management, upper management to understand this is what we're doing, and if I'm going to do this, I need support for it. So think about that moniker, how that would play to improve the relationships you have with your alumni, as well as help drive enrollment. And of course, membership is, as we were talking earlier, a great way to generate revenue. One area in which we don't do enough of is to drive career and professional development support as a member benefit. You're a member of an alumni association. Think of the value of what your alumni association offers to you as a benefit. Is it travel? Is it insurance discounts? Is it discounts on hotels? Is it a free access to the library that I'll probably never use? So are those really bogus benefits? If you build your membership program around providing career and professional development programming, you might have a chance of reinvigorating your membership program as well as driving more revenue. So an interesting way in which you can drive revenue and begin to reach students who are just coming on campus is with an association with this company. Student Playbook has developed career courses. They have taken a business model very similar to what you are doing with insurance companies, the credit card companies, travel companies, where they mail, right, to the alumni or the parents direct to their home, not email, but mail. In this particular case, Student Playbook recognizes that most students don't go to the Career Center. In fact, research by NACE showed 61% of graduating seniors will either never go to the Career Center or only visit once or twice. And what can you learn in one visit or even two visits to the Career Center? You lost like 3 or 4 years that you should have been working on your career. Student Playbook has a program where they mail to freshman parents, offering parents an opportunity to purchase a career course they call Compass, which encourages students to create their own personal board, to learn more about themselves through online assessments, followed up by coaching. And this is a tool in which it can not only drive the students to learn more about careers, but it increases the number of students that will then subsequently take advantage of the Career Center events, activities, and get engaged with college recruiters. The long-term benefit is they're a great partner to your alumni, your Career Center, because the Career Center now has to show and document in their first destination surveys that students are getting a job that's relevant to their degree at a salary level that is going to allow them to pay back their loans. But if the Career Center can't get students to the Career Center to begin to invest time in their careers, then they're not going to show good results, which will affect the admissions office ability to bring in and book more students. So one of the other things that I think is very important to point out at this point is there's research by an organization called Heldrich. Heldrich found that 58% of graduating seniors said that the college didn't do enough to prepare them for their first professional job search. If you're in alumni relations, that is a ballywig you're going to have to deal with, right? You've got nearly 60% of your graduates who are going to be disappointed with their college degree. How are you going to engage them? Well, you're going to engage them through career and professional development support and some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of slides. But think of this as a way to not only build a relationship at orientation with the parents of incoming students, but also those students. Mailing goes out to the parents, informs them about this program. Parents have an opportunity to purchase the course. Your alumni association generates affinity revenue from that. Another area I'd like you to be thinking about is Adopting a job board for the Alumni Association. I'm not talking about for the Career Center. You're either working with Simplicity or Handshake, and that's fine. That's all working very well for students. But if I'm 5 years out in my working career, or even 10 or 15 or 20, if I go to the Alumni website and you're directing me back to the student job board, what am I going to find there, right? So you need to be thinking about adopting a job board for just your alumni. And there's a number of solutions out there. One is, as you're seeing on your screen, Jobs in the US. Jobs in the US is a firm that creates branded job boards specifically for alumni associations. Another is Community Brands. Community Brands, if you're part of the alumni CASE organization, Council for the Advancement of Secondary Education, I think, they utilize Community Brands job board. And you could have that same job board that would only cost $1,000 in terms of startup, no annual cost. And you could defray the $1,000 setup to take out of revenue that would be generated. And every time your alums or college recruiters or the HR department at the organizations your alums are employed at post jobs, then you're generating revenue, as much as $50 for every job that's posted. And think of it from this angle. If you're having 4 jobs posted every week at $50 a job, that's 50 times 4, 200 a week, times a month, that's 400 a month, times 12. So, well, you're probably doing better math than I, but you can see that's going to generate a significant amount of revenue, and you don't have to do anything. You're not paying a yearly subscription for this program. You only had a startup fee to get it started. So think about that. Jobs in the US, Community Brands are 2 organizations you could reach out to. If you're not sure how to reach them, contact me and I'll share some details with you. Another area I think that would be very interesting to take a look at, and again, this is another way you can reach out to parents at orientation as well as students as they are coming on campus freshman year. This is a way you can build that relationship, maybe bring more student ambassadors online by tapping into your freshman class. But imagine someone from your alumni association being at orientation, passing out a flyer that looks up something like this. The flyer indicates to the parents that, hey, look, only 10% of students actually take assessments. We've got a full year course that offers not only the DISC assessment, but a 40-page report of the results, 12 Zoom meetings with career coaches over the course of the year, 4 module video sessions to describe how do I take advantage of the information provided by my assessment, 12 sessions that focus on audio related to building relationships with individuals based on their assessment outcomes. It's a powerful course that could be offered to parents as a way to also generate revenue. This program generates 50% affinity for your alumni association. So with 100 parents buying a $75 course, you get 50% of that. But at the same time, you're getting students who are getting more engaged in their careers right off the bat. The course encourages them to utilize the Career Center. And what did we talk about earlier? The biggest problem your Career Center has is getting students to understand what it takes to find a job, to learn what they need to do to launch their careers. And anything you can do from the alumni relations side to help drive more traffic to the Career Center is going to be a win-win for everyone. This is really a fascinating idea. I think we're 5 to 10 years out from you even being able to get to management to get their attention on it. But think about this. A company called Pathrise actually approached me 3.5 years ago with an idea that they wanted to introduce engineering students to their program, where they introduce students to companies like Apple and Amazon, Facebook, um, companies that are well known in the technology world, and that they will help those students get jobs in those industries. So what they do is give a modicum of career support and information to those students who sign essentially an income share agreement, like some of your colleges may be doing right now. In that income share agreement, the student pays nothing up front, but agrees to pay 9% of their first year salary to Pathrise. So if I were to land, let's say, a $60,000 job, and I now am committing 9% of my first year salary to Pathrise for them finding my job and providing me a little bit of career support. Well, think if your career center actually adopted this model. This would be absolutely, or your alumni association. Think of the amount of money that could be generated by providing a second level of career support. Now, the reason I bring this up in relationship to the Career Alumni Association side is that Pathrise wanted to give $300 to the Alumni Association for every student the Alumni Association could help get signed up for this program. But I think the real play is for you, your Alumni Association, maybe Career Center, begin to have a discussion about how can we do something like this? I mean, think about it. You've done all the heavy lifting. You've academically prepared a student. You've gotten them into internships. You've helped them prepare their resume. You've invited college recruiters on campus. You've networked those students with alumni, and then you let them go. And there's actually some companies out there that will help those students find jobs. Why isn't your college having an extra level of service that would essentially place them into a job and that student pay for that privilege? I think you've got an incredible revenue opportunity by leveraging this idea. And mark my word, this is something that is going to come to the industry. As we started our discussion today, you are going to have to find ways to generate revenue for your college, because 2 or 3 years ago, the college enrollment was what, 20 million students? Today it's 17.5 million. And there's less students coming onto campuses, graduating from high schools. And there's this whole discussion about, well, maybe college isn't worth it. So there'll be even less students coming. You're going to have to become very entrepreneurial and find ways that you can generate more revenue. Lifelong learning courses could be yet another way you could generate revenue, leveraging the intellectual knowledge of your professors. In the example that we're showing here, the executive director found a professor that she thought, hey, this could be an interesting course for my alumni. So it was built through Coursera. There wasn't anything that the faculty person had to do because the course was already out there. The alumni director decided, I'll put it out there and we'll see if we get any takers. Well, over 750 alumni did take advantage of it, paying $15, generating over $11,000 in revenue. A portion of that goes, of course, to Coursera, but they didn't have to travel. They didn't have to pay for hotels. They didn't have to pay for the facility where the event was held. And imagine if you did that, found your top professors, the professor of the year for the last 6 years, 10 years, and had them put together a course, share some revenue with that professor if it's not been created. But alumni, if we go back to the study I mentioned earlier about the Olson-Zoltman research that suggested that alumni were surprised when the relationship changed after they graduated from one where they thought they were going to continue to be intellectually inspired and that their college would carry on that tradition of providing intellectually stimulating information to one where it's friend raising and events and activities related more around sports than about knowledge. So think about that, because you could be generating a significant amount of revenue, and it doesn't require a lot of work. It's a matter of having a few meetings with faculty, learning who's already got courses out there, and then beginning to educate and market to your alumni. Now, career coaching would be yet another way in which you could generate revenue. We did surveys. We have a program called the Career Speaker Series, which features a weekly career lecture by a top author on either the job search process, career changing, negotiating salaries, anything related to the work environment, soft skills, and then essentially things for boomers to be thinking about. Within that lecture series, we did polls to find out what else would the Alumni Association provide you. And the number 2 item right behind networking type of events was career coaching. So if that's what your customer wants, why not deliver? Now, most of your alumni associations probably defer career coaching when alumni request it to overworked career center staff, right? A career center staff on average has maybe 1,500 at a small college students, one person to 1,500 at a state college. It's more like one person to 5,000. So they don't necessarily have time to also handle 30,000 or a alumni base of 300,000 people. So you could reach out to alumni who are working professionals, are certified career coaches, and take a 30% skim of whatever is booked from that kind of relationship. You have a win-win situation there. You're helping alumni who are also in the career coaching business get business and get known. 2, you are bringing together the alums who are needing career coaching and are more willing to trust or believe someone who walked the same paths, who had the same professors and experiences as you as they have had. And then of course it's going to generate revenue for you. So easy to do. Just send an email out to your alumni. Let them know, hey, we're providing more career coaching if there's any career coaches out there, life coaches, spiritual coaches, physical coaches, executive coaches. There's quite a few different areas in which your alumni will be looking for kind of help. One of the final areas that I wanted to review with you, which I'm very passionate about, is something that is a spin-off your current first year experience program. More than likely, you have adopted a program, your first year experience program, to help students transition from high school to college. The whole idea is it's a big change. And over the last 30 years, your college more than likely has invested significantly in staff, funding, and events and activities, including freshman read programs and activities to make students feel more comfortable as they hit campus. Why? Well, it increases retention. Why? Because that increases revenue and ultimately graduation rates, graduation on time, and all that. Well, because that was and has been such a great investment for you, we're going to get back to what's in it for you. We now need to think back to what he was mentioning earlier, being alumni-centric. What's in it for your alumni as they transition from college to their first professional job? So I'm suggesting that you adopt a first-year grad experience. Same name, but just put a grad in there. And within that first-year grad experience, you coddle those grads, right? If 40% of the grads are going to take 8 months to find a job, they need extra help. They probably didn't go to the Career Center. Not necessarily their fault because you didn't require them to, right? So we need to do something rather than just ignore that situation. And the end result is going to only benefit the Alumni Association and the development offices, because if we can get more students into jobs on a more timely basis, they're going to be able to pay down their student loans faster. They're going to be more likely to contribute, and they're going to be more likely to contribute their time, treasure, talent that you're interested in having. So let's think about focusing on what your organization can do for graduates. In our particular case, we've developed a program including what we call the Grad Career Festival, which actually launches July 5th, just a week away, and runs almost 2 months through August 31st. It's an event that features 100 career coaches and authors in 4 tracks: career management, soft skills, post-graduation life, and soft skills, and the job search process. So students and grads can come in at any time, participate in the on-demand lectures by authors. This is kind of one of those things that it's available, could be part of what would be your first year grad experience. We also adopted a college to career boot camp program, our career speaker series, which I mentioned, which is a weekly career lecture series featuring top career authors. And you'll come up with your own ideas in terms of what constitutes your first year grad program. So these are all ideas that we've been kicking around. And the programs are built to generate revenue. One of the final items here to kind of share with you is the oral history project that Texas A&M has utilized as a way to sell the memories that alumni have accumulated. Little off track in terms of career related, but it's a unique way. And this has been introduced by an organization called Publishing Concept, the idea that we all collectively have memories that we have had from college days. And interesting enough, why not put those into a publication and share them with others? Other programs that are out there that are a little bit off track from just the career side are virtual wine tasting programs. When I first heard about that, I thought, well, this is pretty odd. Who is going to be tasting wine virtually? But it's been a very effective program for organizations. California colleges, which are closer to the wine country, have definitely been utilizing them on a regular basis. So these are all ideas, strategies, and concepts, easy for you to adopt, easy for you to get involved in, and it all goes back to what we talked about initially. It all starts with your mission, vision, and goals. I encourage you to be thinking about changing those to reflect what's in it for your alumni, your grads, your students, back to becoming alumni-centric, which Almabase is very spot on in terms of introducing to the industry.
Thanks so much, Don. Extremely helpful ideas for alumni associations to generate revenue. Could I quickly share my screen, Don?
Sure, let me pass it back to you.
Thanks. Just a couple of quick things that I wanted to run through before we can wrap up. So those were, again, all of the ideas that we put together. I hope you liked those ideas. Whether it's those ideas or any other alumni programs that you want to create, with Almabase, what we've done is created the toolkit that you need to support you in creating the programs, measuring the outcomes easily, and advancing your organization, right? I mean, if you're asking what exactly does Almabase do, think about it like this. Apart from your CRM or database system where you have your alumni and donor records, Almabase is literally the only other software that you'll need to run a successful alumni and fundraising program. Online alumni community, content management system. Let's say you want to host content like the oral history project or webinars, or any kind of content that you have, and measuring engagement against those. You have the event management system. So if you wanted to go back to that virtual wine tasting event, you could run the whole thing along with ticketing, collecting the revenue and all of that through Almabase. The fundraising system, so you could do your giving days, your annual fund, or any other campaign, through Almabase. Email marketing system, and like we said, the entire sort of engagement reporting system to measure everything, right? That's actually a really critical component of being alumni centric, because if your data is not telling you what your alumni care about, then that's what you need to find out first before you can become alumni centric. And obviously there's no simple answer there. It's not that all of your alumni want the same thing, but that's why it's important to have the right measurement in place, because in today's day and age, alumni are not engaging just at these discrete events that you do. They're engaging with you 24/7 while you're asleep, on your website, on your Facebook page. They're engaging all the time. And it's important for you to understand what your alumni care about and where they're engaging, right? So the measurement system helps you do that. We obviously integrate with your database, whether you're Salesforce, Blackboard, or Lucian. We help you integrate with that so that everything flows back to your CRM. Almabase comes with all of these combined. Again, feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions. Let's actually end with one final poll. If you all have the other page open, you can go back there and answer this question. Which idea was the most useful? This will be useful feedback for us. If you don't have that tab open, go back to slido.com, enter the code 55444, or feel free to just scan this code from your phone and you'll be up there seeing that question. Let's see if we've got some responses. There's a couple of questions that have come in while people are responding to the poll. Let's go through those questions. I see William. Curious what approach you would recommend alumni relations take regarding onboarding revenue generating programs in the career services space if the career services department on campus isn't supportive or collaborative, or is even openly resistant to them. Any insight is appreciated. Don, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I love the question, because I would talk to the Career Center from the perspective of, are you serving 100% of the students? Are you satisfied with the number of students that utilize the Career Center for events, activities? And then you can use some of the surveys and polls that we shared today that show that students aren't using the Career Center. And there's actually research that shows, the National Association of College and Employers research showed, the more a student utilizes the Career Center, invests time in their career, the greater likelihood they'll get internships, jobs by the time they graduate, jobs relevant to their degree, and at a higher salary, as much as $10,000 more. So, I mean, that's the magic formula. If every student, you utilize the Career Center to the degree they should. So you're only being a partner to say, hey, we've got some different ideas that will help you drive more traffic. The end result is, what do we want to be able to do? Help you have a better first destination survey result. Those surveys are used by the enrollment management people to show, hey, your son or daughter will spend their money wisely here because they'll get a job.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So William, hopefully that's answered your question. We have one more question. I think some of you have responded to the poll, a lot of you haven't, so we'll just give it a couple more minutes. Meanwhile, we'll get to Lakshmi's question here. Is there a way alumni associations can help beyond placements, job placements, helping people in getting contacts, leads, information in the jobs they're already working at? For example, someone in IMF, International Monetary Fund, wanting some details or contacts in World Bank, which could be helpful for both. That's a great question. I'll probably quickly answer that on my side. So yeah, I think alumni networking and the alumni associations or universities playing an active role in helping alumni network with each other, either from a professional perspective or from a social perspective, is extremely important in today's day and age. You don't want to just rely on alumni having those needs, but not having any sort of support from the institution. So that's an important A lot of institutions already do this, and they don't directly monetize it in the sense that you don't have to pay to access the alumni directory in most cases. But obviously, there's the long-term benefits of engaging and raising donations from those alumni. Don, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I actually love the LinkedIn alumni tool. If I go to my college name, LinkedIn alumni, I can find individuals who graduated a certain time frame that have a certain major that work for a specific company, and I can network with them like instantly. We encourage students to do that all the time.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think in terms of the poll here, this is interesting. I think clearly the post-graduation career support for a year is what most people, seem to have liked the most. And then followed by these few options here, lifelong learning, student playbook career courses, and membership, including career support. I think that's actually a really important one. If you could include, career support as part of the membership benefits. Don, do you want to conclude with how people can make this actionable going forward?
Yes, well, first of all, I want to thank everybody that joined us, and for you hosting this webinar has been a very valuable opportunity. And so that we walk away and not have just spent 45 minutes to an hour together, let's do something. Let's start immediately bouncing these ideas off colleagues. It was very interesting to see. Looks like the first year grad experience resonates with everyone. You could start a discussion on your campus immediately. Meet with the first year experience people to see what they're doing. Learn about what kind of financial commitment the college has made to their organization. I think you'll be shocked. A lot of money is going into that, and a lot of time and effort of different people. So ask them and get them on board so that you then can leverage their influence with the management and others to be able to start your first year grad experience program. Discuss these ideas. I mean, have a brainstorm session with your board this summer. This is a great time of year. You're probably having an opportunity for like in 2 years, right, to get your board back together and get a whiteboard up and throw some of these ideas up. See what they think. I can guarantee you they're all going to be gung-ho. Yeah, you need to be doing more to provide career and professional development support, and all of them will be very supportive of whatever you can do in the first year grad experience. Next thing is put together, based on those steps, just a one-page plan. Go to your management, go to the person you report to, go to the president of the university and say, here's my plan to solve this problem. And then the end result is anything you do will increase enrollment, will increase alumni satisfaction, will increase contributions down the road. So build your whole strategy around an investment today is contributions in the future. And finally, you've got some great people here that really are passionate about this idea. Almabase has been involved in the industry, has put on these webinars, has focused, creates blog articles that share industry information and knowledge. Continue to use them as a resource and share your ideas with them, strengthen them as a company so they can strengthen you.
Absolutely. These are our contact details, email IDs, and LinkedIn profiles. Again, we'll send the slides as well as the recording to each of you. We'd love to get in touch in case you need anything at all from our side. Thank you so much again for taking the time. We'll hang around here for a few minutes if there are questions, but otherwise, thank you all for taking the time, and thank you, Don, for taking the time to do this.
Pleasure.
Let's see if there are more questions coming in here. Looks like there aren't any more questions, Don. Thanks. I guess we can wrap it up then. Thanks again, Don. It's been a real pleasure learning all of these ideas. I'm sure all of the audience enjoyed them as well. So thank you so much for sharing them openly.
Pleasure. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.